It's so amazing that you're all here. I mean, after 2 days, the last, I'm honored to close this great conference or close this room. My name is Joël from Bodegraven. I am a product designer at Travelbird. Travelbird offers hassle-free holidays. We sell them online. Who knows Travelbird? Still a few. Nice. I mastered in digital experience design. Went to Manchester, Hyper Island. I highly recommend going there. Any hypers here? People from Hyper Island? Oh, that's too bad. So, my talk today is about machine learning-based predictive user experiences. And to first, go there, I need to chat with you about UX design. So, yay! UX is changing because of technology, because of all the new technological advancements. And if you look at the concept of it, I think this is the most good definition of it. They say user experience encompasses it's not about only design, it's how it feels, how it looks, how the whole flow is designed. And one of the companies that does it well is like Apple. Their stores are like a Play Store where people can interact with products, and they think about the aesthetics, but they also think about the unboxing experience, about the emotion of how products feel. They were also one of the companies that first started with charging the battery before they box it. So when you buy an Apple product and when you buy a product in general, they're always charged, and they were the first to start with. So, like I said, UX is changing. And one of the main problems we nowadays face is that there are a lot of decisions and a lot of stimuli that come our way. So if you look at how many apps we use on a daily basis, how many notifications we get, how many triggers there are in our environment, technology is everywhere. One of the things I'm really passionate about and like to study is how this new technological advancement will change our relationship with technology, but also how it will change how we design products and services. We are all with creators in a room, so I think it's a really interesting topic to talk and share about. So this is my point of focus. So what will be like the UX of AI? And as designer, you always start with a problem to solve, right? So I think the biggest problem now is that we live in a too noisy world, that focus is gone. Little people have like that really good focus, and that's not bad because everyone is like triggered all the time with their phones, tweets, WhatsApp, Slack. I think Slack is one of the main reasons we are now in the noise time. So we make approximately like 35,000 decisions a day, and this is based from an old research. I think this is based on a research of 3 years ago. I think now with Slack and all other things, we can easily say 100,000 plus. Only on food, we make approximately like 230 decisions, whether we should buy a snack, whether we want coffee. That's an easy question, by the way. And all these subliminal triggers causes that we have a lot of cognitive load. So our mind gets full, and we make bad decisions in the end. I think this is this is really recognizable. So at the end of the day, so now, how many of you bought a snack? Quite a lot. And this is mainly because we made already a lot of, because buying snacks is okay, but it's not optimal, right? So because over the time of the day, we took a lot of decisions, you were involved in a lot of talks, thought about a lot of stuff, our brains are less compatible to make good decisions. So that's why we buy snacks, drink alcohol, and so on and so on. So what I want to do is tackle this concept, because a lot of people think choice is good, but people think if you have choice, you have freedom, and freedom is always good. But if you look at this situation, I think it's easy to say this picture looks, by the way, horrible on this 4K big screen. Sorry for that. But if you think at this scenario, choice can also be painful. And Barry Schwartz has written a really interesting piece about it. It's called The Paradox of Choice. I highly recommend it to read it. And it's about the impact of choice. So how does choice impact the user experience? So if you stand in like a grocery store like this, and you see you want to eat, you don't know what you're gonna eat. I often don't know what I'm gonna eat before I go into the grocery shop. And then you stand there in the aisle thinking about, okay, what I'm gonna eat. So you get like paralysis. So you don't know what to decide on. You get anticipated regret. So when you pick product 1, you think like, ah shit, maybe product B was better eventually. And that eventually leads to self-blame. So now Aaron Shapiro has founded like anticipatory design. And anticipatory design is all about design that's one step ahead. So he took like the problem that we have too many decisions and tackled it with this new design pattern. It's not really new because like if you look at maps and navigation, that's also a form of anticipatory design. But it's a fairly new if you look at how we apply machine learning, for example. So anticipatory design is a design pattern that focuses around learning, predicting and anticipating. So if you, technology is everywhere. We got more and more smart devices, also in homes and in offices. So we really have a lot of data of users, and we can really like figure out what the patterns are. And those patterns are really important to eventually predict what the next move of the user will be. So if you look at anticipatory design and the whole notion of it, it's about help me make decisions, what apps are currently doing. They have UIs that provide a lot of options and the functionality to make decisions for me. So the idea is to remove the freedom of choice and offer the just right features in the flow of the user, where the user is in then. So this is just the most old form of anticipatory design. You want to go from A to point B, and the navigation tells you why. This is quite newer one with autonomous driving. You give the power to the car, and it anticipates the next move by driving you to point B. Another interesting product, which I really like, is Nest, that sets the temperature just right for you when you go away. It lowers the temperature to save energy, and when you come back, it sets the temperature just right. So it's a really interesting field, but there's a lot of research that has to be done yet. My research was mainly into like design ethics. So how do people feel of giving their freedom of choice to a device? Would they trust it? And now, especially with the data breaches and the Facebook gates, it's really difficult to pitch an idea like this. Still, I'm trying to convince people to experiment more. And at Travelbird, we also like to experience a bit with it. So I have two tools for how you can really ideate and iterate on anticipatory design. So first is an experience map. Who's known with experience mapping? Yeah, see some hands. So experience mapping is quite fun and also insightful. So what you do is you define the journey, and you define the journey in different steps, of course. And you have basically you have an emotional state. So an experience can be really nice, but it can also be really awful. So, and what you do is like by data and also interviews, you plot how a journey is for a user and how they feel about certain actions. So at Travelbird, for example, we want to offer stress-free holidays, and we all go on holiday and we all have stress during those journeys. So a good thing is going on holiday, because that's like the moment you leave work behind, or you take it with it, but you go to a warm destination, or cold. A stressful situation can be airports. So we like to, and if you arrive at your destination, that's also a really positive point. Could also be painful one. So for example, at the airport, we try to tap into the need of information, because if you look at the situation, if you are on an airport there, it's like a maze. You have a lot of triggers, but a lot of uncertainty. So to what gate do I need to go? Where can I drop off my luggage, etc., etc. So we built within our app an adaptive layout. So when people when people arrive at the airport, we know they're at the airport, and we give them a notification so they can click and see the latest updates, if there's a delay or not, and what gate they should go. At the hotel, for example, and I hope it's going to play. Yeah, it's going to play now. So at the hotel, so after interviewing several people, the uncertainty of how a room is it nice? Is it what I expected? Is one of the main things that lead to stress. So what we offer is like a feedback form immediately. So when they are arriving at the hotel, they can immediately give us feedback. And if the hotel is bad, we will contact them, and we will try to arrange something. And if it's good, then we are happy, and the user is also happy. And all these screens and functionality is triggered of really specific moments. So we use GPS location and time, for example, to indicate and how and when we should show what screen. Taking a sip of water. So another thing, and that's just emerging, is like intelligent UI, and there are now like really good developer kits as well. So for example, Google is one of the took the initiative to really update this in their next product launch. And I think this is one of the steps we're going, like that also the UI anticipates based on your previous actions. And with the slices, they also try to anticipate the next move based on the search query in this case. There's still a lot to do in this field, and I think the biggest challenge and the biggest problem is around ethics, around privacy, for example. So if you look at this future where we have no choice, I think there are a few things that stand out. So the positive side of it is that you have less decisions. You can focus on what you really like. You have a seamless experience if it's obviously good predicted. And the negative side is really around the privacy. So I believe if you, and I'm curious how you feel, I mean, how many of you would sacrifice your privacy in order to have a really good experience? I see one hand. I see more hands. Okay, yeah, it's really tough, and because we don't trust. At least I don't trust big companies directly with my data. The experience bubble, for example, is another interesting topic. So if you look at Eli Pariser, he wrote about the filter bubble, at which you stay in your own reality based on your search queries and your browse behavior, but the same can apply eventually in real life. So if you are surrounded by technology, and if technology steers you in different directions, and you have no freedom of choice anymore, it can also end up you being in the same patterns and and that you cannot discover anything new. So that's also an ethical risk. And there's alienation of human capabilities. So a good example is from an airline that their whole digital booking system went down and all flights got cancelled. And the main reason was because the employees didn't know what the procedure was of writing handwritten tickets. So they had an old procedure before they went digital, and they didn't know how they should write like normal tickets and what the procedure was. So if we distill everything in algorithms, then we have the chance of forgetting what the true purpose and meaning is of certain activities, and that's why we should also, I think, be active and in doing that. So I have 6 design considerations. So if you want to create like a predictive system, then there are 6 design considerations to take in mind. So the first one, and I think that's a quite straightforward one, is always design with purpose. So I think with technology we have a lot of power in hands, and the possibilities will in the end be limitless. But really to focus on how we can make technology meaningful. The user is always in control. So during my master's and when I was researching this field, I worked together also with Uber and with Google. And Uber was working on a product which is not yet released, and I don't know why, but they had an opt-out functionality. So they said they conducted a lot of research, and they said if we are going to automate everything, people will not engage as often because they are afraid they lose trust. So you can have an automated experience, but if you want to opt out, it's also fine. I think that's a really good principle, to give users always the option to opt out for automation. Design against the experience bubble. Always try to have some variation on alternatives. And humanize experiences. And this is also a thing. I mean, if you look at Siri and all the personal assistants, they have it's not like Morgan Freeman is talking to you. It's really like a machine that they lack identity, they lack empathy. And I think if we look in the future, and if we look at like the future of mobile phones, for example, we are later less interested in the amount of gigabyte, but maybe more interested in the personality of the device and the personal assistant. I think that connection will be closer and closer eventually. I think this is one of the most difficult ones, creating hierarchy in a multi-user experience. So we saw the Nest device, and imagine that you come home and you are together with your wife, and the one wants 20 degrees, but your wife wants 19 degrees. Yeah, which one should the AI take? That's a really difficult situation, but a really important one also in order to create seamless experiences. And I think if you look at AI's UIs itself, they ask for a lot of decisions as well. You have a lot of triggers, and I think one of the new developments with Google, for example, they have like predictive UIs. I think that's a really interesting approach. But in the end, I think voice interaction voice interaction will be an even more promising field. So after my study, I started the anticipatory design movement, and this is a fairly new project, and I really want to connect creators like you and designers to come together and share insights, but also options on how they how we might create anticipatory systems. And first of all, I would like you to join, and furthermore, you will find more like research and thesis and a lot of resources, so you can also dig into the technical points. We have a few nice papers about that as well. And for now, I'm really interested about like your views, and I hope we also got some questions via slide, for example. So we can dig deeper into this topic. But for now, thank you very much.
There's no questions on the Slido. Can anyone got any questions in the room? Or from our remote viewers, get on the Slido app and ask Joel.
Yes.
Like Annika Rice. Where are you?
Hello. You mentioned something about the experience of the user bubble experience.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand that. Can you expand on that?
The user?
There's the experience bubble.
The experience bubble, yeah. I can elaborate on that. So, so the idea of this anticipatory design is that you have a future without choice. But I believe, so if you look at it, I identified it as an ethical question. I think curiosity is what makes us human. And I think in that regard, it's really dangerous to have everything predicted for you without you having the opportunity and freedom to also explore other possibilities that might be interested for you. So it really, I think, taps more into the concept of curiosity. And I think if I could apply it on like a product, so Google Maps, for example, they always show you a few options, but I think if you take a detour, sometimes you discover way more than repeating the same route every day. Just want to be careful that we don't turn into like a robot. Does that answer your question a bit? Okay, thanks. Good question. Furthermore, there's a lot of stuff to read, also from Uber. If you want more resources, please send me a mail. I'm really approachable. Thanks that you were all here. It was really great being here.
There is one more question on the Slido. Sorry, late entry. This one says, by giving less choices, how do you make sure you satisfy each type of user without asking them to give too much of their privacy?
Can you repeat?
I gotta say a bit slower. By giving less choices, how do you make sure you satisfy each type of user without asking them to give up too much of their privacy?
Yeah, so I think I question if it's possible to. I think in order to make this really work, it's important that we give all of a big part of our privacy, not all of our privacy. But I think this model wouldn't work if we give a bit of privacy away, because our mobiles know already a lot, but they need to need to know even more in order to create meaningful anticipatory experiences. But that is how I feel. If people have other ideas around it, I'm glad to hear it.
Is it possible to design without affecting privacy at all? It's kind of
maybe, but I don't know yet.
Okay, I think the prize goes to this question. Did you anticipate this question?
No.
All right, thanks very much. Really, really interesting. Give it up for Joel.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.